Greetings, Descendants of Lattasel. I am Anarkm Pulassius, and today I will be giving you all a brief overview of the new rules that have been released for the guild. So let's start reading. Section 1 just discusses attendance. What they're trying to tell us here is that you're expected to be online, and you'll be given a 2-week notice after a month of inactivity. At the end of those 2 weeks, if you have not been active, and being active is either logging onto the game or onto the website, if after the end of those 2 weeks you haven't been active, then consequences will occur, whatever they may be. And also when signing up for any sort of event that will be on the event calendar on the forum, which I will link in the description, but you should know how to get there. When you sign up for an event, it is expected that you will attend. If you don't think you can attend, don't sign up. But if you do sign up, we're expecting you to attend. And if you don't, and you don't tell anybody that you won't be there, a warning will be issued the first time. And after 3 warnings, you will be demoted. After each demotion, eventually you're going to reach a fledgling. If you get demoted again after fledgling, then you're not looking so good. Section B is role-playing event rules. The first section that they address is about public events. What they're saying here is that in a public event, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make an appearance and we're trying to look good. And this is actually a good time for us to bring in more members who are genuinely interested in RP. So if you don't obey commands given to you by your superiors, then there will be consequences. And failure to obey commands, like blaming that on your character's defiant or aggressive behavior, is only acceptable to a point. If you're hindering the proceeding of the event, then that's not an acceptable excuse. The officers are going to give out they're going to give you details about the event before the event starts. You're expected to use this information to plan what you're going to say or what you're going to do so that it can look well thought out and you're not just spontaneously throwing shit out there. The next thing they address is private events. And private events are basically just anything that you and another guildie went and it's like, hey, you want to RP? And then you RP. So you pretty much get to do what you want. There's really no rules about that. Just, try to really build your character. Use that time for that. And then in chat, how we do RP events is we don't do them in TeamSpeak, we do them in chat, and we use the /say channel. And the say channel, we're going to assume that anything you type in there is something that your character said. If you need to change it, like you had a typo or something, then use parentheses in a following message. If you want to whisper and say something only to one character, it is encouraged to actually use the whisper channel. And then additionally, the emote channel is the other main channel that we use, and that's going to tell you something that your character did. That's going to be an action. Don't say things that your character said in the emote channel. The next section talks about ranks. The number 1 is the Phoenix, and that's Valeria. Number 2 are the Eagles, and those are the top dogs after Valeria. Number 3 is the Hawks, and each Hawk has their own squad of troops that they lead and that group is called a flock. These flocks are arranged into flights, which are headed by Eagles, and then below Hawks are Falcons, and Falcons are it's kind of like a reward for behaving well as a Condor. When you've shown yourself to be a valuable asset to the guild, you will be promoted from Condor to Falcon. And then that brings us to a Condor. A Condor is just your basic, these guys have proven themselves to be worthwhile. We're going to keep them around, and maybe one day they will prove that they're worth more. and we'll move them up. And then the fledgling is the entry position, someone who's just joined, and if you want to get out of the fledgling position, you'll have to prove that you are genuinely interested in the RP and you aren't a hindrance of any kind. And it should take about 2 weeks. But if you really are active and you really get involved, then that probationary period where you have to be a fledgling can definitely be shortened. The next section is about the age limit. Descendants of Lattasel asks that you be at least of 16 years of age. If you're not, and we kind of can't tell, then that's no big deal, because obviously if we can't tell, then you're acting mature enough, and that's really the big issue. The next section is about conflict resolution. Should there be some conflict between you and another guildie, just, be an adult about it. Don't be ridiculous. Try to settle it through conversation. If not, talk to a hawk or an eagle. And especially if the conflict involves a hawk, then talk to an eagle or a phoenix. The next section is about guild bank rules. This is something that you're definitely going to want to read through on your own, but this is pretty important. The in-game guild bank is our main way of sharing items across guildies. So we need to preserve space in there because we have a lot of people and we only have so much space in the guild bank. So we ask that you only put in weapons and armor that are of green or fine quality or higher. Though you can put in normal quality, like white ones, if they have a researchable trait on them. Anything else any other white that's not researchable, just trash it or sell it if you don't want it. Don't put that in the guild bank. Crafting materials can be deposited, but you do need to make sure that they're stacking properly in the guild bank. If they're not stacking properly, then you just got to take both stacks out of the guild bank, stack them in your inventory, and put them back in the bank. And then to preserve space, we are currently not allowing potions or food to be deposited into the guild bank. Sometimes the problem with those is that they're not exactly the same, so they don't stack, so they can take up a lot of space. If you want to share it, then share it with players directly. Just ask in guild chat what these people want, and then send it to them. Now, the next section is about teamspeak, and that's our way to verbally communicate with each other. First of all, we don't want any politics or religious discussion in there unless everybody's willing, and I do believe there's a separate TeamSpeak channel for political discussion, so try to consider using that channel. Oh, well, maybe not. Maybe they took it out. Either way, make sure everybody is comfortable if you're going to talk about that kind of thing. But we don't want anybody... we don't want unnecessary conflicts because Elder Scrolls is not about our earthly politics. Certain events require us to use TeamSpeak, and these will be... You will know that they will be like that. And anyone who doesn't want to join TeamSpeak won't be allowed to participate unless certain criteria is met, and that would be letting people know ahead of time, or having like an actual reason why you can't get on TeamSpeak, like your mic is broken or whatever like that. Please use a headset or at least earphones. We don't want to hear echoes. Always use push to talk because same type thing as the previous thing. We don't want to hear your unnecessary noises. And when in battle, this is a really important point. When in battle, especially player versus player, make sure that everything we say is very concise. Try to say the most detailed thing that you can say to describe what you mean in as few words as possible. Now, this is a skill, and we do have to practice it. We're not going to be great at that right off the bat, but it's something that really needs to be done. The next section is about the website. The engine website that we have for Descendants of Lattasel is the main way that we communicate with all our guildies. Any sort of event or announcement will be made on the website, so all members are expected to check the website on a regular basis. We suggest that you focus on the newsfeed on the home page, the events calendar, and the news and announcements forum. And when using the forum, ensure you're posting to the proper one. If you don't know which forum to write on about whatever sort of suggestion or comment or question you have, just message some sort of officer, being Hawk or higher. The final section here is about promotion guidelines, and that section's not finished yet, so this is where we're going to call it for right now. If you want to read these rules for yourself, I will leave a link in the description of this video. Thank you all for watching, and you have a good day. And guild functionality has been restored. Ain't that super?